Hello everyone, I'm Cinepride. Welcome to Norland, where we'll be creating a new series today. Before we get started creating our new campaign, I have a few things I'd like to talk with you all about first. In my previous series, I typically try to cut out any dead air that results from the recordings. I plan to continue doing this, but my hope is to break down what I'm doing more to try and minimize unnecessary cuts, as well as to make a more cohesive experience for you all, where it can feel like you are in the room with me as we go through this journey. I would also like to let you all know that after the last series, in which I had a lot of struggles trying to follow viewer-created characters, there will be a process on my Discord for doing this in the future. I hope to have this done before the next episode, but it could be a little longer than that, since I don't have a lot of free time outside of my personal life that I am not already using to record these videos. To join the Discord, there will be a link in the description. So with that out of the way, let's create our characters. Now, as you can see here, we are starting this series off with a totally blank slate. And the reason for that is, as I said, I do want to actually explain to you guys why I am making the decisions that we are making. So what is our goal with this series? Well, I can't tell you the entire thing yet because that will have to go on the next screen when we have actually picked our starting location and all of that stuff. So basically what I can tell you at the moment is we want to go with a bit more of a, and we need to change, first of all, go to Caden, and the reason for this is we are going to be going with more of a warlike character and gameplay. So we are basically going to bring down a lot of this unnecessary stuff. We are also going to be putting our trait here on management, and the reason for that is, as I've talked about in the previous series many times, this precise language is one of the most important talents that you can actually have in this game, because this allows you to have a chancellery, and once you are at level 15 management skill, you will actually be able to use the chancellery without needing any paper whatsoever, and that is absolutely massive for managing your productions and everything like that later in the series, so that is going to be super important. We are also going to take a little bit of intelligence skill. We're going to take a good amount of command and combat skill, and we're going to get rid of basically everything else. And we will go command, combat, let's say, take one down on the management skill, and this looks pretty good. Now what you could do, and it looks like we are okay here, but what you could do is you can actually randomize and keep going for these skill setups if you would like. And I think 40 years old with this skill setup is as low as you can go. However, it is possible sometimes that you will be, say, 41 years old, or even 42 years old. I think it's about a plus or minus 2 years about, so that is always a possibility. Now we are going to be going for beautiful, and the reason for this is I always kind of notice that your interest between you and your wife or husband tends to kind of dwindle, and it makes it pretty hard to keep your relation up with just literally the person that you are married to. I don't really like this, so I think a little bit of an increased interest is going to be good. And then we are going to go mental impairment. And the reason for this is I don't know if they are going to eventually update it, but right now, all this does is reduce the amount of experience gained from learning. He's an adult, so he doesn't need to learn, so that's going to be just fine. Now, we are going to pick our appearance, and we're going to go ahead, and maybe you will know who we are going to be going with by the time I get done with this. But we are going to go with this little setup here, and we're going to give him a black beard. We are going to make his skin about that color, and we are going to make him look like this. And you may remember him, Canute. We are going to be going with Canute again. And if you remember back to the very first series on this channel, you will remember that was Canute. So maybe that will give you some ideas for what we're going to be trying to do in the series. However, what we're going to do for the moment, we're going to name our wife Emma, and if you remember from the first series, that was her name there before as well. And what we're going to do now, we want her to actually be our trader. And we want her to also be good with, let's say, probably intelligence, probably persuasion. We don't need her to be good at management because what we can do is our child can actually be good at management instead. And we only really need one chancellery at the moment down the line it is probably good to have 2 chancelleries. We only really need 1 for the moment, and then our next generation can handle, you know, leveling up their management skill to actually be good enough to handle a chancellery down the line as well. So for the moment, we just want to take down, actually we will give her a little bit of a teaching skill. Not much, but a little bit. And we can take her combat skill down. Give her, we'll try for 10. We can also do 10 in persuasion. Take all these down, and also a 10 in trade skill. And actually, it looks like that is looking pretty good. We'll give her another manners skill, maybe? Manners are just good for basically when we send them to talk to somebody, they will have a little bit better interest with those other lords and everything, and they can help with deep conversations and things like that. And we may be using a good amount of persuasion, so that's going to be good. Now, as far as our talent for her, we're actually going to put it, I think, on persuasion, and here's the reason. Diplomat. So I have been kind of critical of a lot of the talents in this game, other than the one on management. But this one actually seems pretty good when you are doing a lot of conquering, because you will have neighbors that just absolutely hate you, and the only way that you can actually improve your relation is by starting a peace treaty, and then hoping that that will improve your relation enough to be able to do things like flesh wolf hunting and things like that. However, with this diplomat trait, you can actually just have them forget all of the grievances and return to a normal level of relations. That, I think, will be quite nice. Now we are going to go ahead and set her appearance, and she's going to look just a little bit different than she did in the first series. And the main reason for this is that I actually took the inspiration on this particular version of Emma. I'm taking it a little bit from Emma of Normandy from the Vikings Valhalla series. It doesn't look super like her, but she has kind of a hairstyle like this, and I thought it was a very good portrayal of her character. And the rest of that series was maybe not something that people would consider to be the best, but I did enjoy her character and Canute's character in that series. So now we have our child to worry about, and we are going to name him Harold again, and he will get the talent on management. Oh yes, and we did set her to beautiful as well, and we are actually going to make her envious. Yes, envious, because I don't really want to make her nervous breakdowns more severe, but I do think that envious will be okay. More prone to feeling envious towards others. That will probably be okay. I could give her a mental impairment as well, but I don't want to keep doing the exact same thing, so we will just go ahead and go with envious on her. Now, as far as Harold goes, he's basically just going to have the management trait, and we are also going to give him probably beautiful, and we will give him maybe mental impairment. I think that's probably okay. And so he will be a lot like his father, but otherwise, we are going to go ahead and set up his appearance next. Okay, so as far as his appearance goes, we are probably going to try to make it a little bit of a split between Canute and Emma to some extent. We will give him basically the hairstyle of Canute. We will also, of course, give him the hair color of both Canute and Emma. We're going to try to put him somewhere in the middle, which actually it looks like we basically are in the middle. So he will be... Is that about... Yeah, that's about in the middle of what their two skin colors are. And body, just like that. We're going to take this off of mental impairment, and we'll make him envious like Emma, because he will be learning. So we don't want him to be learning a lot slower. And that looks pretty good to me. So we do have 2 that will be on talented on management, and Emma will be our diplomat. And this looks pretty good to me. Now, I do have some things that I want to do on the map side of things that I'm not going to actually make you sit here and watch, and you will understand why in a moment. But we will be starting down here, and we're just going to set these first villages. set those to wood, and I will be back with you guys when I have finished the map. Okay, and we are back, and as you can see, I have renamed a lot of these towns. And this was actually a bit of a recommendation from one of our commenters, so thank you very much for that suggestion. And as you can see, we have places like York, we have London, we have Norwich and Canterbury, we have Paris, we have Seville, Madrid. We have all sorts of little named locations, and this is twofold. So one thing is that it's just kind of cool to have all these kind of cities that would have been populated and everything during medieval times and all of that good stuff when Canute would have been around. But also it will be far easier to remember some of these city names. Bless the developers and everything for what they have done to make these cultures feel very real and immersive in this game. However, sometimes the names are very difficult for me to remember. Whereas I can go, okay, one of our neighbors is London. That is so much easier to remember. And as far as what we are going to name our city, we're going to be Winchester. And if you know anything about Canute, well, that is what his capital was when he actually was the King of England, and this is also where he was buried at. So we're going to go with basically the exact same banner that we went with in the original Canute series, and it was all blue sky. Oh wait, hold on, there we go, blue sky with just a nice sun on it, and that is looking pretty good. And we are going to go with the wood in both of our villages, and we're going to go ahead and go next. Now, as far as game parameters, we want to go with the Hammer's Way, and the reason for this is we will start with books related to blacksmithing and weapons, and this includes axes and swords, I believe, as well as the means to actually start studying towards being able to use them. We are also going to be going with the Unholy Horde. Now, for any of you who do not know, the Unholy Horde is basically it's an AI, think of it kind of like the Mongols. They kind of just destroy everything. Think of like Mongols and Crusader Kings. It's kind of inspired seemingly by something like that. You can't negotiate. You can either try to defeat it or survive for 55 days, after which it will just disappear. Unite your neighbors under your rule or make them stronger through trade and defensive alliances, or pray that you won't become the Horde's target. So yeah, we will be trying to survive against the Unholy Horde. Now, one thing we're going to do, we're going to go with excess iron. Basically, I'm going to be trying to make this a difficult playthrough, but I don't want it to be like the last one that was just, a lot of it was pretty tedious and it just took a lot of time. Like, one thing I will never recommend to anybody to use lazy workers. All this basically does is make it so that the work in your buildings will get completely halted anytime an instruction expires. So if you try to send your lord, who's usually your manager, if you try to send him away to do anything like diplomacy, he will come back and everything in his city will just be halted. There will be no work going on. We're not going to use that. However, I do love old grudges because this makes xenophobia a lot more of a challenge to actually deal with, so we are going to use that. We aren't going to use any of the rest of this. We're going to turn off prophecies. We're already dealing with Unholy Horde. I don't want to be dealing with the tedium of prophecies, and we are also going to add longevity, which just increases the time before aging by 10 years. We'll go with hardcore. And we're going to give ourselves a little bit more money, just about 650. Just again, I don't want to have too much tedium, so we'll go ahead and jump in now. Okay, so here we are in Winchester, and we are going to start, of course, as one tends to do. We're actually going to be starting with the hall, and I do have a little bit of a layout that I have planned and everything, so I am taking a look at this as we go, but basically we want the hall to be set up just like this, which gives us a nice amount of room, and we're going to also get rid of all these while I explain. So basically we're going to want enough room for our houses to be kind of like right here-ish, and we are going to want our hall our library like up here, and we're going to want our market right here, and what was it? That's down. Oh, yes, and the tavern right here as well. And then houses kind of going across, our fields going across here, and we will be making use of this. And then we'll have kind of our lord houses over here, and we will have a little bit of production here, but most of our production is going to be right here. So that's kind of the gist of our little setup there. Is there any other? There are a couple little more things. Okay, and we will get rid of that. So we will keep this this altar here, but everything else we're going to be basically trying to move. So we're going to go ahead and let them sort this out. We'll get rid of those. Everything else that's far away, we will go ahead and let them stay. But I don't like having all these decorations in the way. They like to be clicked on. Let's put it that way. Okay, and another thing that you see over here. These are the herb bushes, and I wanted, if we were going to be dealing with a lack of resources, I at least wanted the chance to be able to make our own flavorful ale, and potentially even our own medical salve. So these bushes are all right here. I believe this is all of them. Every single one is right here in this little circle. But that means we can put the herbalist like right about here, and they will be really, really close to where they are going to be harvesting everything. So that will be quite nice for them. Now, Canute and Emma, they're not really doing anything at the moment. He is conducting an inspection, but he should be done. And we'll just let him and Emma spend some time together. We'll also set up Harold's education with Emma, of course. And otherwise, we do want to move this. Let's see. Going to consult my notes a little bit just to make sure. Actually, I'm going to wait until it gets built, and then we will go ahead and place it because I don't want to misalign anything. This is a pretty specific setup that I have. Can't set a new one up. We do just want to... Did I just... Oh, okay. Well, that does happen sometimes where you press the move button and it decides to completely move it without a second click for some reason. I don't know why that happens. Maybe it's my mouse, but I don't think so. So I think that goes right there. Hopefully that is correct. And another thing that you want to do, you always want to make sure that the priority is ticked here on the market. This always ensures that you will always have a trader, and if you don't have a trader, that would be very bad. Let's just put it that way, because then nobody will be able to buy any food or anything like that. Now, another thing we're going to do, I think flour is typically about 3 each. Buys it for 5. Oh, okay, well, I don't think that's typical. I think it's going to end up going down. But we'll leave it at 5 for now. Rutabaga, we'll leave it at 1. We won't sell any medical salves at all. How's the beer price? 6? Okay, we don't want any kind of speculation, so we'll just set all of that. And moonshine, I think, is usually 3, so that's probably good. We're going to leave wages where they are. And as far as prisoners go, we will let them drink moonshine, eat flour, eat rutabaga. That is okay. That seems good for the moment. We already have London under threat of vassalage. Huh, Canterbury is actually going to try to take them over. That is quite funny. They have 6 people. These guys have 2. These guys have, wow, 2 really strong people, though. Versus these guys are not very... I think, actually, London may be able to handle that. We'll have to see, though. Okay, so while we are still waiting for this hall to be built, it's about 94%. It's finally almost done, actually. We will go ahead and place Canute on it. And as you may know, the walls update did happen, but I am not on the beta branch because it seems that they added a demo to it, so actually you are not able to play the walls update anymore until the week is over, or if maybe it's a bug and maybe they have to fix it, I'm not sure, or whatever, but yes, for some reason right now you cannot actually play the walls update. But hopefully at some point during the series we will be able to get that. And it will cost a lot of wood, but it would be awesome, I think, if we could make kind of walls going along just like this to kind of border us into these rocks. So if we do get attacked by the Unholy Horde, I'm not sure if you actually get attacked in your city. I hope you do, because that would be very awesome if we could actually try to defend. But then we would actually have walls, and we would have a nice city gate. and all of that stuff, so that would be super cool. We will have to see if that ever can come to fruition. But I imagine it's going to be at least 500 wood to actually be able to surround our entire city. We're going to get rid of this stuff too. I don't think we're going to be over in this area very much, but just in case. I don't want this stuff in my way. Now, we want these to just be in front of the hall here. Good. I guess I missed a couple of roads. We'll get rid of those. Get rid of these. Cages. Okay, now, consulting again to my little list here. In the end, we are actually going to want to probably make use of peasant houses because having a loyalist is going to be quite nice. But I'm just going to build these across. Just these 4, and we will snooze 2 of them. Because we don't actually need those right now. And next up is the breweries, and we want these to be essentially just right next to the hall here. And we will make 2 of those. We'll want to make moonshine, and we're also going to want to, we're going to be skipping beer, because what we actually want to do, we want to try to get, we want to try to make a trade route for hops. And we will take the hops, and we will actually try to create flavorful ale from that, I think. Now, is anybody actually selling it? They are. Okay, right here. And we may also want a trade route for rye as well, because basically because we don't have any fertile land, we don't really want to be growing our own flour or our own hops if we can actually avoid it. So we may go ahead and try a trade route for rye, but I think, let's see, we have to make this decision a little snappily, and I think we do want to go with the hops first. So what we want to do, I mean with the rye first. So what we want to do, 25 rye for 46 gold, or 25 for 36. That is a great price. We're going to try to go buy that. So let's see. Phylon is in a difficult situation with his neighbors from Canterbury. Unfortunately, we can't actually help with that. What we could try to do, though, we could try to do an assassination, but it would be 35%, and somebody would most likely find out about it, and then they would be pissed with us, and it'll cost 400 gold, so we wouldn't even make all that much money back. We'll just have to hope that London can survive, or if they do get vassalized, hopefully they will keep the trade route up with us. We'll send Emma to do that, and in the meanwhile, we are going to keep building the city up, so next thing we need is, of course, lumber. That's going to be very important for us. We'll go ahead and place it somewhere where hopefully we don't kill a tree, save a tree, and we'll place another one right here. Next up, what else have we forgotten? We have the tavern. We want this to be built, actually hold on. We want the library to be built first, and then the tavern. And then the altar is fine where it is. Lord's house will be next. And I think we want these down as low as possible. So right next to the market, essentially. And we will place 3. We did just kill a tree. I didn't actually mean to do that. But okay, now we just need to kind of wait. It's about to be nighttime, so we will see if we get the trader today. And we do, okay. We'll have Emma come back then, because she is our trader. So we'll have her go to trade, and then we'll send her for that trade route. Okay, and here we are, and I'm actually thinking we will probably sell off these spears. Now, one thing I have consistently had an issue with is in the later part of the game, I end up not having enough weapons. And so selling spears kind of sounds ill-advised here, but the reason we're going to do it is we need the money, because we want to get a real head start, basically, on basically any kind of knowledge that we can that we can learn. And I'm definitely going to grab the herbalist. I'm not totally sure what other books we might have, though, so I'm going to take a look first. I could have just looked in the tab, but I like looking at it in this UI instead. So we do have the workshop, we have the coal furnace, we have the mine. We don't really need, let's see. Yeah, we don't really need this one. We do want to keep this one, though, the rye field and mill, because we will need the mill in order to turn any rye that we purchase into flour ourselves. And then we do have axes and swords, that will be good. Okay, so we basically have the bare necessities, but we still have some things that would actually be nice, like loyalty basics. This will double the or is it double? Yeah, doubles the likelihood of loyalists appearing in the city. Flavorful ale, I do want, but I think we're going to pass on that for now just because we don't want to go through too much of our money. We do also want the temple and the peasant houses. Peasant houses increases the rate of you getting loyalists substantially. I think, I don't know the exact I don't think there is any real exact. Just if they're happy, if your peasants are happy, then they have a chance to become loyalists. I think that's all it is. I don't know if there's a certain threshold necessarily. Probably anything above 50, I would imagine, is at least a small chance. But anyways, we are going to get rid of, where is it? Hop field and beer, we don't need that. And everything else we are probably going to keep. Now, we are going to start stocking up on things like paper. And I would like to buy a couple of maces, but we're not going to do it right now. And tools would also be nice, but we're not going to do it now. So, okay, we're sending a good amount of our money away, but it is going to be worth it in the end. We're going to keep this heavy armor because as soon as Harold becomes of age, he will have a free heavy armor. So there's no sense in getting rid of that. And we will buy 5 rings. Alright, so this is pretty much taking out all of our money, but hopefully some of our peasants will buy some things and that will get some of it back. Now, I think that is where we are going to call it for this first episode. We already have 12 peasants. 3 are unemployed, so we do need to get some of this work ready, which is also why we want this tavern next. So we basically, the order is going to be library, tavern, then get these lumber mills going because we need to make sure we don't run out of wood. And it's going to be very easy to run out of wood because there actually is not very much in this map here. I don't know if it tells us an exact amount, it just tells us how much is cut down. It already shows this 5% being cut down. I don't really know if that's just for me placing stuff. I guess it must be. So yeah, it doesn't actually tell us the exact amount. Is there anywhere that we can actually... Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I wish it would allow me to get a breakdown of how many things like trees and bushes and stuff there are here, but it doesn't seem to be possible. So either way, check the issues list. I don't think there's anything too important here at the moment. No, there is not. Now, one thing I do know is I did do a small test just to see how all of this would kind of play out, and the Unholy Horde will start over here, and they will kind of just circle around, so they won't even go for us right away, and it will probably take them a while to actually get to us. So that will be just fine. We also have bandit camps, and we will want to take care of these. We didn't make them the stronger ones this time just because, again, if we did that, then we would also basically have to make it so all of the migrants had a stronger combat skill as well, and that just makes taxes go out of control really, really fast, and it makes everything, again, just a little bit too tedious. So I think that is where we are going to call it. We'll send Emma, and it looks like the price is the same. That's basically just over, that's basically 1.5 gold per rye, which is amazing. And otherwise, that is going to be it. So so basically, I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. I have talked about doing the Unholy Horde for a good long time. I think it is going to be a good, fun challenge to kind of round off our Norland series for a little while. I don't know what I'm going to play next necessarily on the channel, but Kingdom Come 2 is coming out soon, and if you guys would be okay watching me play that, then let me know in the comments. But otherwise, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.